From swimmers in Hawaii who couldn't outrun these massive walls of water, and sneaker waves in Brazil that caught all these beachgoers off guard, to locals in Ventura, California who were swept off their feet by a rogue swell, and massive waves in Bali that towered over this coastal rock wall. Here are 10 monster beach waves caught on camera. Roughly 60 miles north of Los Angeles sits the coastal city of Ventura, California. It's a popular West Coast vacation spot, famous for its piers and stunning beaches. Between late 2023 and early 2024, Ventura became a surfer's paradise when Pacific storms sent 30 to 40-foot swells racing toward the coast. Unfortunately, one surfer's big wave was another person's nightmare. The high tide forced many locals to evacuate and close their coastal businesses. Then, 3 days after Christmas, a massive rogue wave crashed into the seawall, nearly flooding several city blocks.
Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ! Run! Run! Jesus! Oh my God! Oh no.
As the wave retreated, our cameraman returned to the beach to film the damage. The streets were covered in debris. Several cars had shifted from their parking spots, and a few locals were swept clean off their feet. 8 people were taken to a nearby hospital and treated for various injuries. According to our cameraman, the wave was strong enough to carry some people 50 yards up the street. The National Weather Service said these waves were part of a powerful storm system over the Pacific Ocean. Cities up and down the west coasts of Canada, the US, and Mexico likely experienced similar conditions. Coos Bay is a coastal city in Coos County, Oregon. It's home to roughly 32,000 people who know a thing or two about large Pacific waves. While wintertime storms sent massive swells barreling into Hawaii, several sneaker waves crept their way toward the U.S. mainland. On January 23rd of 2016, Steve Rapley was on break from work when he began filming the rough surf nearby. Several beachgoers walked the shore while a little boy played with his dog. Everything seemed fine until Steve heard something behind him. Thankfully, he was wise enough to run while warning everyone else.
See if it's still fine. Folks down playing on the beach here. Uh-oh, I have time to go here. Get out of the way! Go! Whoa, that was scary. That's a big snooker wave. My God, that's huge. I just got out of the way. Would have taken anybody in its path. Look at that. Holy, you know what? Everybody made it out. That's what we're looking for. Oh my God.
Because sneaker waves are random and unpredictable, They're almost impossible to study. According to the National Weather Service, they're more common in the northwestern US than anywhere else in the country. Steve's video proves how dangerous sneaker waves can be. This one could have easily picked everyone up and swept them away. If you were able to keep from drowning, hypothermia would be your next big concern. Remember, it's January in northern Oregon, where the average temperature is between the low 30s and low 40s. It's not the kind of weather you'd want to go swimming in. Toby Cunningham is a professional big wave surfer from California. However, he likes to spend most of his free time in Nazaré, Portugal. Why? Because Nazaré is famous for having some of the biggest waves on Earth. The tiny fishing town became the biggest name in big wave surfing when word spread of its massive swells. On February 17th of 2020, Toby set out to ride one of these famous Portuguese waves as he had many times before. However, even pros like Toby can't beat Mother Nature when she wants to win. Let's just say Toby has never been happier to see a jet ski. The jet ski spots Toby through the foam and guns it to save him before the next wave crashes. It's a race against time, a race they ultimately lose.
Watch out.
Thankfully, Toby and the jet ski driver escaped the water unharmed. Neither let the experience deter them, and they returned to the water moments later. Waves in Nazaré can grow upwards of 65 feet. Atlantic swells pass through the Nazaré Canyon, the largest underwater canyon in Europe, at a depth of 16,000 feet. That's nearly 3 times as deep as the Grand Canyon. The Nazaré Canyon's depth causes approaching waves to blend, forming one mega wave through refraction. The waves are so big that surfing them requires guts alongside a dedicated jet ski rescue team. Located on the thinnest part of Eleuthera Island in the Bahamas, the famous Glass Window Bridge splits the water in half. On the one side, you have the dark, churning waters of the Atlantic Ocean. On the other side, you have the turquoise waters of the Bight of Eleuthera. With the right shoes, you can climb atop the rocks overlooking the bridge to get the best view. You just have to be careful when the surf kicks up. A tourist named Stephen Higgs learned that lesson the hard way when he tried to climb the rocks for a better look. Watch as Mother Nature warns him, then finally carries him away. Thankfully, he was okay in the end.
It's stupid to do that.
Did you videotape that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, there's another one!
He's gone.
Where is he?
He's over the edge.
No.
Luckily, Stephen landed on some rocks below the bridge, which saved him from being carried out to sea. He had a broken arm and several deep lacerations on his legs, but luckily he was still alive. Police officers quickly arrived and rushed Stephen to an island hospital. According to reports, the bridge was closed to traffic when powerful winds and 40-foot waves began lashing the sides. Despite the warnings, 7 other people needed rescue after they were knocked off the bridge. All of them broke life rule number 1: never underestimate the ocean. Most people typically picture the Hawaiian Islands when they think of waves and surfing. That's because the island state is famous for its summertime weather. However, if you're looking for the biggest waves, you're better off going in the winter. Wintertime in Hawaii spans from October to April. This is when storms on the North Pacific send massive swells toward the islands. On January 13th of 2016, during an especially rough El Nino period, beachgoers on Kauai Island got to experience some of the largest waves they had ever seen. These kids were having fun, but don't let their smiles downplay how powerful these waves can be. Thankfully, they were smart enough to retreat toward the shore instead of jumping into the waves directly. The riptide could have easily pulled them out to the rocks and beyond. During winter, waves in northern Hawaii can climb higher than 30 feet. Even the most experienced surfers might think twice before paddling out. The ideal time to visit is between May and September, when the waves subside and the skies clear up, making for tranquil days of surf and relaxation. Bali is a popular tourist island in Indonesia. It's the westernmost of the Lesser Sunda Islands and is only a few miles off the coast of the East Java mainland. Its tropical beaches and warm water draw millions of people each year. Roughly 80% of Bali's economy depends on tourism. On July 18th of 2018, tourists in the eastern Klungkung Regency were in for a treat when a string of monster waves crashed into the shore. Watch how they crash into the rocks and cascade dozens of feet into the air. If you saw these waves and thought, wow, I'd love to surf those, you wouldn't be alone. Surfer Magazine says a trip to Bali is like a rite of passage in the surfing community. There's a reason people call it the Island of the Gods. Bali waves travel for thousands of miles across the Indian Ocean. They typically arrive in consistent swells that match the curvature of the reef below, meaning you can ride them significantly longer than Atlantic or Pacific waves. You just have to watch where you're going and be mindful of dangerous swells like these. Picture this. You're relaxing on a beautiful Brazilian beach. You've got a cold drink in your hand. The soothing sound of crashing waves fills your ears. Then, suddenly, people start screaming, and before you know it, you're up to your waist in seawater. On July 20th of 2019, beachgoers in Rio de Janeiro lived this reality when a rogue wave washed over their towels and chairs. None of them saw it coming until it was too late. These are called sleeper or sneaker waves, and they're pretty self-explanatory. They're abnormally large coastal waves that suddenly appear in a wave train without warning. The name is more observational than scientific, as the waves are named after the way they sneak up on relaxing beachgoers. Thankfully, nobody was hurt when this sneaker wave caught the entire beach off guard. It did claim a few umbrellas and chairs, though. Hopefully, it didn't steal anything valuable, like someone's phone or Bluetooth speaker. Hurricane Nicole was the 16th and final storm of the 2022 hurricane season. It crashed into Florida as a Category 1 storm, becoming the third hurricane ever to make landfall in November. Before reaching the United States, Nicole landed in the Bahamas as a strong tropical storm. The storm surge was expected to raise water levels between 4 and 6 feet. Meanwhile, large swells were forecast to impact every island in the tropical chain. Watch as these waves make short work of the seawall and quickly flood this coastal street.
There's some thing.
From what we can gather, this particular flood occurred in Nassau, the capital city of the Bahamas. Thankfully, it didn't cause any substantial damage or severe injuries. Unfortunately, Nicole only increased in strength before slamming into Florida, which was still reeling from Hurricane Ian. According to rough estimates, Nicole caused $500 million in damage across the state, from collapsed homes to ruined high-rise buildings. The Laswatan Lagoon is a popular tourist attraction in the Philippine province of Surigao del Sur. If you zoom in on Google Maps, you can see how coastal rock formations formed the lagoon over millions of years. Laswatan is the only ocean waterfall in Southeast Asia. As waves race across the Philippine Sea, they crash into the 20-foot rock walls surrounding the lagoon. Watch as the water cascades over and rains onto the excited swimmers. Thankfully, the lagoon keeps everything safe and contained. Swimmers can freely play in the endless waves, assuming they don't climb on top of the rocks. The name Laswatan comes from the Visayan word laswit, which means seawater pounding on rocks. For years, the Laswatan Falls and Lagoon were hidden from tourists due to their secluded location. That's when the local government realized what a valuable asset they had. They ramped up their vacation campaigns, and now the Laswatan Lagoon is one of the top tourist attractions in the Philippines. While the lagoon is open year-round, the best time to visit is between October and March, when the waves are at their biggest. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one.